Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm Krasi Attasio, and with me I have Vanita Lenka. She's great Vedic astrologer, and I invited her to teach us the techniques of Prashna. Actually, I will tell you, Prashna, this is diamonds. This is the most wonderful ancient technique of the Rashis, of the ancient Vedas, which is teaching us how to do question, to answer question. It's like the Horary astrology, which we know from the medieval astrology. So the Horary astrology you are aware of. Prashna is the Indian Horary astrology, but developed in very, very fascinating way. And now I will leave this to Vanita. Vanita has own YouTube channel, Vanita Lenka. You can find her also under this video. Every once a week, we will make lectures on Prashna until we make a complete overview of what Prashna is. This is really diamonds, I will tell you. So thank you, Vanita, for accepting my invitation to teach us on Prashna. Now, it's your turn to introduce us, to introduce the techniques and in general what Prashna is.
Sure. Thank you, Krasi. Thank you so much for having me over, first of all. And it's an honor, actually. I must say you are a great astrologer yourself, and coming from you is an honor. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vanita.
And you rightly mentioned these are diamonds. And whatever little knowledge and whatever I am practically doing, while putting up the Prashna, I will be sharing with you in a step-by-step manner, because I am a very meticulous and a very organized person myself. So I want to give it away in a very organized manner. So we will be, first I'll just want to make it very clear that to use Prashna, one is presumed to have the basic knowledge of Hindu or Vedic astrology, or whatever astrology you're doing. But I am sticking to the Vedic astrology here. So I will talk about the Vedic astrology, Hindu system of astrology. So one must know the basic concepts and significations of the planets, signs, houses, nakshatras, etc. Whichever are the relevant things to Prashna, 12 signs, sign lords. When we erect a Prashna. So we must stick to the 12 houses, 9 planets, 27 nakshatras, mode of the rising, nature of mobility, like movable, fixed, dual, which is very important for being aware of Prashna. Then, there are avasthas, the conditions of the planet. So planetary avasthas also you must know. I will be sharing with you in the subsequent videos a little bit about everything, no doubt. But what exactly is Prashna? What is Prashna, first of all? One of the most useful and dynamic branches of Vedic astrology is Prashna, which literally means question. This is called Horary astrology in the West. Prashna is a very important aspect of Jyotish, as it helps us in deciphering the changes to the experiences of a person depending on the changes to the karma shown by the birth horoscope. We all have the birth horoscope based on the time, which is, at the time of birth. But Prashna, while at any point of time the birth horoscope indicates multitude of events, Prashna helps in narrowing down the options. In my view, no horoscope reading should be done without employing Prashna. I don't do it.
So you combine an analysis of the natal chart with Prashna?
Yes, I do. But, there are people who don't have the natal kundli also, the natal chart. So then also Prashna kundli can be, erected, and then we can just, we can just get the immediate answers to the query, to one query at a time. So it's good if you have the Prashna kundli with you, if the birth lagna, birth chart with you. That definitely is required. If somebody is coming for consultation to you, then you must, obviously that person is having the kundli with you, the chart. So if the person is having the chart and is putting up a question, then I generally use Prashna also. I always employ Prashna kundli, the chart. One important aspect of Prashna is to time the occurrence of an event such as marriage, childbirth, etc. So that's how. Now, I must tell you, it is a very ancient, Prashna is a very ancient Shastra, because Lord Vishnu in Hindu system, Lord Vishnu had, Lord Brahma, actually had approached Lord Vishnu, the preserver, and expressed the desire to learn Prashna, to solve his anxieties pertaining to the immediate future. Brahmaji was always having anxiety, so he wanted to know what the future is. So he asked, he requested. So that is how this came into force. So Prashna and, even the birth lagna, birth chart, encompasses in its fold other systems like Prashna Marg, which derives some principles from Brihad Jatak to varied forms of Nimitta, that is the incidents, and the omens, the Shakun, as we call the Shakunas, the omens. And they are also mentioned in Brihad Samhita. Why I'm mentioning all this? So that, if you want to look for these texts, you can definitely look for them and get what exactly it means. The whole thing is mentioned. Then onto the Prashna Tajik system of astrology, which elaborates on the Varshafal or annual horoscopy. That is also mentioned in that. There are many standards of books available on these, like Devagya Vallabh, Prashna Tantra, that is English translation from Prashna and from Tajik by V. Raman, or Tajik Neelkanthi, Prashna Marg, Narapati, Jaya Charcha, Haryana, Hayanath Ratna. Then, I mean, there are, so many. Krishna Padati is also there. So we can just, which elaborate the length of various systems, and those desirous to delving deeper, they can just refer to these.
Great.
Yeah. So there are times when a person does not know his date of birth or time of birth. Maybe you must be getting, Krasi, somebody who's having the date of birth, but the time of birth is not accurate.
Yes, the rectification, you mean, probably, yeah.
Yes. So this usually acts as an obstacle in astrological matters, as we all know. A solution to this problem is this Prashna Kundli, the Prashna chart. The house associated with work and the master of work play an important role in Prashna. Work in a Prashna Kundli, I'll be using this word Kundli repeatedly because Kundli means horoscope or the chart, that is Prashna Kundli. So it is helpful for me to actually speak about it.
Yes.
So Prashna Kundli is the wish or the desire due to which a Prashna Kundli is created. The work for which the person has come for, the question. For example, if a person wants to know if he would travel or not, then we'll see the third house of the Kundli, which will come into the analyzation part. The accuracy of the answer depends on the relationship between the house associated with work and the master of work.
Vanita, excuse me. So you're saying a person is approaching you, he's coming to you, and then at this moment you cast the chart with the moment of the current day, minute. Yes. Okay. So
yes.
I'm coming to you and you're casting the chart. I'm just explaining for the people. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I will be telling you this. This will come later. The timing will come later. So this is. I'm just going step by step. What exactly is happening? Why we are maybe we don't have it. Means why we are putting up the Prashna. So that is what I'm just telling. Then I'll tell the timing also. Then Prashna Kundli is created when a person asks a question. Results related to this question are analyzed through a Prashna Kundli. The question may be associated with anything. Usually a temporary problem forms the question. It's just a temporary thing, In such a situation, Prashna Kundli is an effective way to suggest a solution to the problem. Prashna Kundli should be created as soon as the person asks the question. Generally, I don't do that. Maybe if I'm busy or something now. It used to be in the earlier previous times that people used to put up the question they used to approach the astrologer personally. But nowadays we have phones, we have emails, so we cannot just erect the chart immediately. So definitely, I'll just tell you that how we have to do it. So, you know, at the time where you are, the question can be 23 hours back, 20 hours back, 2 hours back. At the time when you are putting up the chart, the Prashna, that's the place of yours, like the astrologer's place, astrologer's time. That is Prashna Kundli. See, if somebody is over the phone going to ask me for query, so I will put up the Prashna myself before the person is talking to me, how the person is. That is what I do, like how the querist is he genuine or not. So all that, you know, will come forward later. You know, I will be sharing everything. So to the ancient astrological literature of the Hindus, traced to sage Parashar, there belong a certain number of complementary works without whose assistance the student of astrology may not be able to understand the deeper implication of the subject. Prashnamarg may be considered as one such work. So I am taking everything from Prashnamarg, and because we can learn with on our own, there are certain things that we have to refer to. So it's an exhaustive treatise on the various aspects of Prashna or Horary astrology, as we call. The topic of the work, though called Prashnamarg, covers almost the entire range of the subject, Jataka or the predictive astrology, Muhurta or the electional astrology, as you call. Then Parihara, that is the remedial astrology, and the Nimittas or the signs of the omens. So everything is mentioned in Prashnamarg. So in Prashnamarg, coming to chapter 1, chapter 1 begins with an introduction to the astrology, its branches, and who may study the science with success. The author tells us what type of karma is indicated by the birth chart and the Prashna chart under different circumstances. How an astrologer should begin his day by prayer, and what all he should note in any person who approaches him. With a problem forms the crux of chapter 2. The directions indicated by different signs and favorable and unfavorable for queries are also mentioned. It also shows how omens, breath variation, that is the swas as we call, and the avastha or the mental state of the astrologer, that is also very important, are used in answering the queries. Amazing. So the persons or objects encountered on the way to an astrologer through the direction, when the querist is even traveling, you know, to the astrologer, that is also, he should also see what is going on around him. The first syllable he utters, the way he stands, or the object with him are all dead in this chapter, which I will be sharing later, step by step.
Right.
Then facial expressions and the sight of certain creatures in interpreting the Prashna. So first is the prayer. We must start with the prayer. Must take bath, everything, and then we must start with the prayer. I offer my sincere prayers to God Vishnu so that my mind may become enlightened, extensive, and perfect. I salute my perceptors and the planets so that they may bless my speech with purity and truth. I bow to my gurus. So there are different kinds of Ganita. Actually, I have not mentioned this, Krasi. I thought it will be time consuming. So if you want, I can just, if you want, I can
Everything
read.
Is interesting. Everything is interesting. Say everything.
Okay. Because there are Siddhantas and, you know, like Vedangas. So I just wanted to know whether it's required, you know. So if
everything
you want,
that
then
you
astrology.
consider important, everything
All
is
right.
important. You decide.
Yes, this is important. Everything is important though, but this is also important. But I have notes made. So I'll just go through this because I can't memorize this. So astrology is one of the 6 paths called Vedanga. These are Shiksha, Kalpa, Nirukta, Chanda, Vyakaran, and Jyotisha. Jyotish was further divided into 3 skandhas, namely Ganita, Samhita, and Hora. Ganita, the first skandha, deals with astronomy or the mathematical astrology, Ganit, as we say. They are compiled into different siddhantas, which were as many as 18 in number in the ancient times. So, Samhita, the second skandha, deals with the natural phenomenon like earthquakes, weather, famines. You can say the mundane astrology, of that. Samhita. Then Hora or the Jataka, the third skandha, deals with the natal predictive astrology. That is the natal chart that we read every time. So subsequent developments in this field led to astrology being classified into 6 skandhas instead of the earlier 3. And instead of the 3 that I just said, Ganita, Samhita, and Hora, now they were turned into 6. Ganita, Samhita, Hora, Shakun, Mahurat, and Prashna. That's how we come to Prashna.
I see.
Earlier, Prashna was not included, so they made a different branch, separate branch of this. So Shakun is the omens, that we get, the 4th skandha. 3 I've already told you about the Ganita, Samhita, Hora. Now coming to the 4th one, that is Shakun. Shakun is the omens that deals with effects of certain occurrences or phenomenon on future events. Then 5th is the Mahurta, the 5th skandha, as we say, that deals with the finding out of the auspicious moments for doing any work based on nakshatra. That is Mahurta. As we take out the electional as you take out, so that is based on the nakshatra. So tithi, var, etc. And Prashna is the 6th one. So that deals with the casting of horoscopes at the time of the query, event, or thought, and forms the subject matter of the book. So like the subject matter of our videos, as we are going to do. So this is what is about the bifurcations, how Prashna came forth. Now, what is role of horoscopy and horary? I must tell you that. In Prashna Marg, there are stanzas actually, different stanzas. They have divided into stanzas. So in stanza 36, astrology merely indicates the results of past karma. Without karma, no astrology. So planets are only an index of things to happen, and they do not cause the events. The same idea is expressed by almost all classical writers. This definition must enable us to appreciate the real significance and scope of astrology and its relation to the theory of karma. It is also suggested that accumulated karma during the past birth may be experienced not only by the person concerned, but also by his descendants. This is an interlinked destiny. Now, next stanza says the balance of good or bad karma brought forward from the previous birth is the prarabdha that we bring in this birth, whatever deeds we have done in the past birth. And it is the reading of that goes under the name of astrology, of the past to the present. One undergoes the consequences of one's previous karma from birth to death, and this can be known from his horoscope. Then what is the use of Prashna if we already have all this information? Prashna reveals to us whether a man reaps the fruits of his deeds in the previous birth or the fruits of his actions in this birth. Here a question arises. How can we distinguish whether it is the result of our previous karma or the present karma that is yielding its results now? If the horoscope has beneficial planetary patterns and the Prashna chart malefic ones, then it is to be understood that the native is experiencing the fruits of evil karma done in this birth. In this birth.
In this.
And if the vice versa, then the native is experiencing effects of good karma done in this birth.
Good karma. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if the planet, everything depends on the prashna, If there are, you have to see whether there are malefic influences more or there are benefic influences more in the prashna chart. So that will decide what exactly is the, how is the karma related to it, whether the karma is of this birth or the good karma or bad karma. Now coming to the other part, if the planetary patterns in the horoscope as well as in the prashna chart are similar, the patterns in the birth, and we are discussing about both the charts now. That is why I erect the chart of the person whom I'm going to do the natal chart, the reading. So if the planetary patterns in the horoscope as well as in the prashna chart are similar, then a clever astrologer, I would say, one who knows astrology, should derive that native is experiencing the fruits of his past karma only. The horoscope by itself reveals the nature of the past karma, and the prashna chart acts as some sort of a supplement to the birth chart. Suppose we see in a man's horoscope a good period and inquiry in the prashna chart a very bad time. He's running through a good period in the birth chart, but not in the prashna. Then we have to assume that the person is reaping the bad effects of his karma done in this life. In this life. Suppose we see that in a horoscope, a bad period he's running, and in the Prashna Kundli, it is a good period. Then it is to be inferred that the person is reaping the favorable effects of good deeds done in this birth. If the horoscope and the Prashna are similar in positions and combinations, which is very rare, but still it happens if somebody is coming at the time of their birth only. So could be, it is a Jupiter return or something like that, major planets return. So it could happen that, they both are having similar combinations and positions. Then the person is reaping the result of the karma done in the previous birth. Since some sort of a balancing of the birth and prashna charts is involved, it is clear that the current indications in the birth chart, that is the indications obtaining at the time of query, the benefic and malefic dispositions of current dasha lords, etc., have to be studied along the prashna chart to know the nature of karma now being experienced. So we must always stick to the basics in the chart. No need to get into the detail, what is the Shadbala, what is happening in the other, natal, other divisions and all. We don't have to go there. From the face of it, you can make out that this person is reaping the result of his good deeds or bad deeds, in short. But if we have both the kundlis, like we have the birth chart also and the prashna chart also. So we can, I think, close here, and we can do the next part in our next week video. I think, Krasi.
Totally. This was great, and you're explaining very well and really clear. Thank you so much, Vanita.
Thank you. And if anybody has any queries, Krasi, they are most welcome to send in their queries in the comment box. I think this, even if there is a person who is non-astrologer, should watch this video and they should know what exactly is the Prashna chart. Because they will be
I think you explained it quite clearly. Should be okay to be understood also by people who are not fluent in astrology. I think so. It was very clear. Thank you so much. We're closing here. You can write your comments, questions to Vanita, suggestions what to be included also in our next lessons. See you next week with Vanita. Thank you. I'm closing here.
Thank you.